What up, Space Fam? Goes in here from AnimeUproar, back at it again to discuss every Mythical Zoan user, this time the most hyped category of Devil Fruits in my humble opinion. I published a more general all Zoan users and their powers explained video about 2 years ago, which you can check out as well, link in the description, but this one will be a more updated and detailed version for Mythical Zoan fruits in particular. If you do enjoy seeing these One Piece videos and want to keep them coming, the best thing you could do is channel the Pirate King within and smash that like button with no mercy. If you haven't, make this the video you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications, or you will miss future One Piece videos. And if you're new to the Nakama, let me know and say hi below in the comments. Now, a quick thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Do you ever feel like you just haven't accomplished as much in life as your average isekai protagonist? What if I told you that you can take down the Demon Lord, crush the Ice Golem, ascend Doom Tower, and meet beautiful waifus right now? Raid is a free-to-play game available both on mobile and PC. With Raid, you can explore millions of champion combinations and master countless tactics as you take on raid bosses, dungeon runs, campaign battles, and PvP arena matches. And now, for a limited time only, the one and only Ninja is available as a champion for free, but he's only going to be available until October 15th. He's a super limited edition champion, so when the time is up, you'll never be able to get Ninja again. So you gotta start playing right now. If you want to get a huge head start in Raid, all you have to do is hit the top link in the description or scan the QR code right here. New players will get an epic hero Chinoru, 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon an awesome champion as soon as you get in game. You will find your extra rewards here in your inbox for the next 30 days only, so click the top link in the description right now. Now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. Let's start things off with one of Blackbeard's 10 Titanic commanders, Crescent Moon Hunter Katarina Devin. She ate the Inu Inu no Mi model Kyuubi no Kitsune. For Pokemon and Naruto fans, it's pretty much the 9-tailed fox fruit, and in the Viz manga is called the Dog fruit mythical type model 9-tailed fox. Devin is 36 years old after the time skip, and her current bounty is unknown, but we do know that she's a whopping 11 foot 10 inches tall, or 361 centimeters. She can use her fruit to transform into a 9-tailed fox, and perhaps more interestingly, she can use the power to transform herself into anyone and impersonate them. During chapter 925, we saw the fruit in action when she used it to impersonate Absolom, tricking Gecko Moria into thinking that his man was still alive. She does transform back after it's revealed that Absolom is dead and that Shiryu stole the clear fruit. It's the best fruit for disguising yourself as someone else because it allows the user to transform their clothes as well, unlike the clone fruit. That covers Devin and the 9-tailed fox fruit for now. We haven't seen a lot of it so far, but we're sure to learn more about this interesting mythical fruit as the story progresses. For number 2, we got the corrupted Shogun of Wano, Kurozumi Orochi, and his Hebi no Mi model Yamata no Orochi. Another fruit that might remind you of Naruto, specifically of Orochimaru. Its English name is the snake fruit model Yamata no Orochi, and it's based on an 8-headed serpent / dragon in Japanese mythology. This fruit lets Orochi transform into a giant 8-headed serpent. We've seen that Orochi can easily grab and trap a person within the jaws of one of his serpent heads. Having 8 heads also lets you attack multiple people at once, which is also useful. The fruit, as many of us predicted, also lets you survive being beheaded. One mythical parallel of the Yamata no Orochi is the Hydra in Hercules, and most of us may remember that cutting off one of its heads never did the trick. In fact, in that example, multiple heads would grow back to replace the first. At one point, Kaido beheads Orochi, which wasn't that surprising. After all, why would such a strong figure want to keep someone as annoying, cowardly, and proud as Orochi around longer than necessary? Later, Orochi recovered somehow and then ran into the Red Scabbards. Fukurokuju informed him that the Red Scabbards didn't even know that he'd already died once at Kaido's hand. What might have been a crazy reveal to them ended up being an anticlimactic but hilarious revenge after Orochi transformed into his 8-headed form and arrogantly talked about how he would finish off the injured Red Scabbards. The Scabbards went on to slice off all of his heads effortlessly, commenting on how they have no time to waste on the likes of Orochi. Now, this this could potentially be his end because all the heads were cut off at once, or it could be like the Hydra in Hercules and they may be able to grow back nonetheless. We don't know for sure right now, but almost anything is possible when mythical zones are in question, so I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he survived the attacks. In the end, the Yamata no Orochi is a very interesting fruit with unique abilities like most mythical zone fruits, but cool fruits don't always go to cool or even strong characters, and this is one of those times. Although I found the fruit pretty fascinating, Orochi himself was definitely not worthy of the mythical fruit. For number 3, let's look at a character who is definitely worthy of his mythical zone fruit, Dr. Marco the Phoenix. Marco is as legendary as Yonko commanders come. He was the right-hand man to Whitebeard, the man called the strongest in the world and the closest to the One Piece. He is currently 45 years old and his birthday is in October like mine. Coincidence? I think not. He's 6 foot 8 inches tall and his bounty is 1.374 billion berries, a bounty bigger than Queen's impressive bounty of 1.32 billion. So even among Yonko commanders, his bounty is top tier, although it's possible that King himself could have a greater bounty when it's finally revealed. Of course, Marco the Phoenix has the Phoenix fruit, more specifically the Tori Tori no Mi model Phoenix or the Bird fruit model Phoenix. Another way to translate it is as Immortal Bird, another hype detail about the mythical fruit. Back in chapter 553, we first saw Marco use his ability and it was to deflect an admiral's attack no less without breaking a sweat. Marco's fruit allows him to adopt the properties of a phoenix and to straight up fully transform into a blue phoenix. Marco's blue flames allow him to heal himself or others. This is one of the reasons that the Immortal Bird translation is so apt, because Marco can seemingly heal from otherwise lethal wounds using blue flames. It looks kind of like an enhanced Logia because Marco can take hits as if they just went through him, but in his case, he could also use the blue flames to heal from Haki-infused attacks as well. As mentioned, Marco could block Admiral Kizaru's attack, and he also successfully blocked Admiral Akainu's as well during the Paramount War, and he would later have no lasting damage, showing just how superior this fruit is to, let's say, Ace's Flame fruit, which was easily overpowered by Akainu. Marco was able to use his fruit for a while to also hold his own while fighting against King and Queen at the same time. 2 Yonko commanders with both confirmed bounties over 1 billion berries, even though we don't know King's exact bounty. Obviously, this doesn't mean he could actually beat them both at the same time, and Perospero pointed out that he looked exhausted, but it's still very impressive nonetheless. Considering how good of a fighter Marco is in battle, it's all the more impressive that he can be just as helpful when it comes to healing others. We've seen him use his flames to help heal others, and more specifically, he's used them as a way to help prevent the further spread of Queen's virus in many people. Notably, Marco's flames won't burn you as they burn, unlike conventional flames, but they can definitely be used to reinforce the power of his attacks, so the OP power comes with both offensive, defensive, and healing capabilities. Notably, Oda has told us that Marco's healing has limitations in a question corner, so he's not necessarily immortal in his Phoenix form. It's quite likely that if Marco drains all his stamina, he won't be able to use the healing powers, which might explain why he sometimes leaves minor wounds like scratches or bruises unhealed in battle. Another way Marco could definitely be defeated is if you expose him to Sea Stone, then he won't be able to use his regeneration on lethal wounds. It should be said that Marco's forces fought against Blackbeard's forces in the Payback War about a year after the Paramount War, and Marco's side was obliterated. Even so, Marco made it out fine without suffering lasting wounds thanks to his Phoenix powers. But I think that's enough about Marco for the purposes of this video. His mythical fruit is one of my favorites, and though it does have its limits, which makes sense, it has let Marco at the very least exchange blows with many of the best fighters in the world without taking any lasting damage. Next up we have Kaido himself, the leader of the Beast Pirates and the man called the strongest creature in the world. Kaido's bounty is over 4.6 billion berries, meaning among the living Yonko he has the highest bounty. So the question was for a long time, what exact devil fruit did Kaido have? What mythical zone is worthy of going to the leader who stands at the apex of the animal kingdom that is the Beast Pirates? There were theories that he had a straightforward dragon fruit, even theories that he was a dragon and had a kind of human fruit, but during chapter 999, Big Mom revealed that on the day rocks fell into ruin at God Valley, she gave Kaido a legendary model of the fish fruit. And she even says because of that, Kaido owes her his life. That's how big of a favor this fruit was in her view. The official name of the legendary mythical fish fruit was given to us in a data book, and it is the Uo Uo no Mi model Seryu, or the fish fruit model Seryu. The Seryu is an azure dragon, and if this at first confuses you how a fish fruit can turn into a dragon, just think of Magikarp and Gyarados in Pokemon. Gyarados 2 is based off of the Japanese Seryu, which is in turn based off a Chinese myth. Specifically, there's a Chinese Dragon Gate myth where there's this giant waterfall, and if a carp is able to persevere and make it all the way to the top of the practically impossible to climb waterfall, it becomes a dragon. And back to the question if this is a fitting fruit for the world's strongest creature, it definitely seems to be, since Eastern dragons like this one were often considered to be extremely powerful and were even worshipped as gods. But back to Kaido's specific powers, we often see him transform into his azure dragon form, and more recently we've even gotten to see his hybrid form, which is accompanied by a very cool tail. Overall, I really like the aesthetics of his hybrid form. Kaido's dragon form is the biggest zone transformation we've seen, and he absolutely dominates the skyline when he's flying overhead. His dragon form is so big and powerful that it's stated he could obliterate all of Kuri if he thrashes about in a drunken stupor while in his dragon form. Thus, without even trying to, he could destroy an entire region of a country. The insane durability of his mythical scales has also been noted multiple times. During chapter 923, Luffy hit Kaido many times with hockey enhanced attacks, and although they landed and looked painful, Kaido got up unscathed like absolutely nothing happened and went on to take out Luffy with one quick blow. It's also been said about Kaido's fruit that it gives Kaido access to more supernatural abilities than any other mythical zone we've seen so far. One such ability is that he can create flame clouds that for all intents and purposes allow him to fly, and can even lift up an entire island and turn it into a flying castle. Additionally, Kaido has been seen launching devastating fire blasts from his mouth in dragon mode and hybrid mode, and the list goes on. This truly godlike creature has turned his roar into lightning, he has released blades of wind strong enough to cut off a red scabbard's arm, and he's been able to summon multiple tornadoes, which led to Zoro labeling him a natural disaster. It seems like in close combat, Kaido's hybrid form is the most powerful, since he saves that form for last. He's not unhurtable because attacks that can bypass his tough scales can cause harm, like advanced hockey infused attacks and Ope Ope no Mi's surgical techniques and so on. After all, Oden did succeed in leaving a huge lasting scar on him. Still, there's no doubt that this is one of the best devil fruits of all, and arguably the strongest mythical zone fruit there is. It even makes the sea, a usual devil fruit weakness, a non-issue because the dragon form can just fly over it. I think that's enough Kaido for this video because we do have others to cover, but let's just say this fruit did not disappoint in the least. Next, let's look at Sengoku, the former fleet admiral and living legend. He was one of the major figures back during Gold D. Rogers' time, along with Whitebeard, Shiki, and Garp. After the time skip, this dude is 79 years old. He has an especially interesting mythical zone fruit, namely the Hito Hito no Mi model Daibutsu, or the human fruit model Buddha. He has the ability to transform into a giant gold Buddha. During chapter 578 at Marineford, we see his giant form launch shockwaves at Blackbeard. Blackbeard and his crew are shown to be rattled by the attack, whited out eyes, blood, and all that jazz, but obviously the attack doesn't keep Blackbeard down. Obviously, Sengoku's size and physical power in this form are great, and although he failed to execute Ace with a punch thanks to Luffy's inflated stomach and a candle wall, his power still led to the execution platform collapsing. And that is it for Sengoku. We haven't seen much of his power in action, but what we have seen was no doubt epic, definitely a power fitting for a former fleet admiral. Next up, we have Yamato, Kaido's child and #1 Oden fan. As us weekly manga readers found out recently, Yamato also has a mythical zone fruit, namely the Inu Inu no Mi model Okuchi no Makami, or the Dog fruit model Okuchi no Makami. We're told that it is a rare mythical wolf and that it is a guardian spirit of Wano, and that makes it all the more painful for Kaido that Yamato is using it and claiming to be Oden. The fruit lets Yamato turn into a wolf god pretty much, and we've seen the cool looking hybrid form clash with Kaido's own hybrid form. Not only is it clearly mythical and powerful, it's also very valuable because of its symbolic value for Wano specifically. It'll obviously be easier to rule a country if their guardian deity is supporting you rather than challenging your your authority. Another hype fact is that Kaido says he worked hard to acquire that devil fruit, and whenever Yonko work hard to acquire a specific fruit, like Blackbeard with the dark fruit and Shanks with the Gomu Gomu no Mi, it's always a sign that the fruit is an especially big deal. Keep in mind, this is not just a mythical zone, but a carnivorous mythical zone, making the fruit especially well suited for combat, and it would have to be special to allow one to repeatedly clash with the so-called world's strongest creature in his OP hybrid form. We saw how quickly Kaido took out Luffy the first time, so the fact that Yamato can occupy the Yonko for so long while he's in his strongest form is no small feat. We've also seen Yamato fire a mouth blast called Namuji Glacier Fang at Kaido, and that was met with one of his own blast breaths, and the attacks canceled each other out. It's an interesting attack name that lends a fire versus ice dynamic to the Kaido versus Yamato fight. Yamato's mythical fruit did not disappoint, and as I've said many times, I would love to have a mythical zone user like Yamato join the Straw Hat crew. My only concern is that it wouldn't make much sense symbolically for the guardian deity of Wano to leave the island, but we'll see what happens. So those are all of the canon fruits, and I could stop the video right here, but for those who perfectly remember all the details about all the Mythical Zone users, and additionally remember everything they've read about them in Oda's question corners, I do have some bonus Mythical Zone fruits for you, so even you, the most hardcore of fans, just might learn something new about One Piece in this video. Let's start the non-canon fruits off with the Bato Bato no Mi model vampire, aka the Bat fruit model vampire. This fruit gives its user, Patrick Redfield, the ability to turn into you guessed it, vampire. This character was designed by Oda himself and serves as the main antagonist of the One Piece Unlimited World Red game. Again, this is non-canon, but according to Sengoku, Redfield was powerful enough to rival the Pirate King in his prime. A very hype statement. With his unique Mythical Zone powers, Redfield can sharpen his teeth and use them to, you guessed it, suck the blood out of his enemies. They age quickly as a result while he becomes stronger, and through these means gains access to eternal youth. Next up, we have the Tori Tori no Mi model Nue, aka the Bird fruit model Nue. This fruit was featured in the One Piece art Nue, a series of artwork created for the One Piece X Kyoto event in 2017 that depicts a non-canon story of the Straw Hats in Wano. The fruit was eaten by Toratsugu, a resident of Wano, which is fitting because the Nue is a mythical Japanese yokai. It's a chimerical beast that borrows different body parts from different animals. For instance, it has the face of a monkey, the body of a tiger, the mane of a lion, and a snake for a tail. When Toratsugu transforms into the yokai, he has the ability to fly, but is nevertheless overpowered relatively quickly by Luffy. Oda himself drew the climactic scene where Luffy battles the Nue. For the final Mythical Zone user, we turn to a video game again, specifically to One Piece Unlimited World Red again. In this video game, we also find out about Inu Inu no Mi model Bake Danuki, literally translated to dog fruit model monster raccoon dog. It allows its user to transform into a tanuki monster, and it was eaten by, get this, a pen. Once again, Oda designed the Mythical Zone pen called Pato, and Pato belongs to the already mentioned Patrick Redfield. Pato may not be the most OP Mythical Zone user, but he's definitely interesting. He can use the tip of his tail to write, and furthermore has the ability to transform leaves into objects and people by writing on them. And that is it. All 9 Mythical Zone users from One Piece, video games and art exhibitions included, and their powers explained. Thank you so much for staying tuned until the end, and let me know which Mythical Zone you'd want. It could be from this list, or you could pick from a myth that we haven't seen yet in One Piece. If you did enjoy this video and want to keep them coming, the best thing you could do is channel the Pirate King within and smash that like button with no mercy. If you haven't, make this the video you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications, or you will miss future One Piece videos. And while you wait for the next video to drop, feel free to check out my growing One Piece playlist that includes videos on all the fruits, Yonko, warlords, and much more. Link to that is in the description. And if you don't see a video you'd really like me to cover in the playlist, then suggest it in the comments. And until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.